Well, Jamison, um, maybe for starters, let's talk a little bit about what got you here. Let's talk a little bit about your past and your journey to recovery.
Um, well, 34 years old, native from Charlotte, North Carolina. I actually came out here close to coming on about 4 years ago, January to be exact. I guess you want like the backstory on how it happened.
Yeah, love to.
Okay, so to make it short and sweet, I was actually sitting in the dope house. I had a large, like a huge quantity of crack cocaine in front of me. And as I was getting high, there were a few people that were in the same house as I. Um, and it seemed like, I don't know why, but this particular hit that I took, as I was taking a hit, I looked up to everybody and I tell this story all the time. I saw my face on everyone else's body. Very literally. It was like every time I would take a hit, I'm looking and I'm like, I'm freaking out a little bit because I'm like, I don't know if this is the drugs, God, or a mixture of both, but something's not right, right? But I did take that. I did take that into consideration, and when that happened, I look back down at what was in front of me, and I look up again. I look down again. I look up again, and I'm like, you know what? There's got to be more to life than this. There has to be. So I literally left everything that I paid for, all of it. I left it on the table, got up, walked out, got on the bus, went back to my grandparents' house. When I got to my grandmother's house, I sat on the edge of the bed and I was texting my grandma. I texted her like a 2-page essay of crap that she already knew. You know, she already knew. I mean, she's raised me. My grandparents raised me since I was 3 weeks old. So I've been with my grandparents my whole entire life. Next day, next morning, my grandmother comes in there and she says, "All right, I got your message. What you gonna do about it?" I'm looking at her like, get some help, I guess. Like, I don't really. Okay, so what you gonna do about it, right? Because, side note, one thing that I do know is that as a person who has struggled from addiction, it's easy to say what we need, but it seems like it's almost impossible to make that first step on your own to be able to successfully gain and do what it is that you're setting out to do, right? My grandmother, complete opposite of somebody who's gonna hold your hand, especially in that situation, right? Because they've held my hand my whole entire life. I will say that yes, my grandparents enabled me for a very long time until they no longer did, right? So she's like, "What are you gonna do about it?" And I'm like, "I guess I'm gonna find somewhere to go," right? Now, let's flash back to about a week prior to me leaving from the crack house. I was seeing signs all around, i.e., TV, internet, social media, billboards. Las Vegas here, Las Vegas there. I didn't put it all into perspective until I reached out to the Addiction Centers of America. I didn't put it all into perspective until then, right? But subconsciously, I feel like I was programmed by God to come here because Vegas would have been the last place that I would have thought that I would come to get sober, right? That is so cliche to this day. I'm sorry. Side note, that is very cliche. Um, so I get online. I'm typing up recovery centers, and I'm looking at places like that are close to home because in reality, I didn't want to really leave home, right? Because I think I wanted to have an excuse so that if I didn't want to do it no more, I could just go home. So until I came across Addiction Centers of America, right?
American Addiction Centers.
American Addiction Centers. Um, when I came across them, the plateau kind of shifted a little bit, right? Because they got all these different places all across the country, the country, and I'm like, I like to travel, right? I've been to a few of these places, but I like to travel. So let's see. I start looking, and they got one in Texas. They got one in, I believe, Mississippi. I was looking at Mississippi. Then I saw Vegas. And I was looking at Vegas and Mississippi are the main two, and Florida, the one in Florida. I was looking at that one too, but really Mississippi and Las Vegas were the main ones that I was looking at. I said, you know what? Let me just give them a call. I give them a call. I still remember my over the phone intake guy. His name was Michael. Took very good care of me. I told him what was going on. And let's just say with less than 32 hours, I was on a Greyhound bus on my way out to Las Vegas.
In 32 hours.
In 32 hours, I was on my way via bus to Las Vegas. The trip on the way here was it was fun, but it was hard, right? Because the whole time I'm on the bus, I'm getting high. Mm-hmm. You know, we stopped in El Paso. I got me a bag of cocaine because I knew that was the last stop. Well, not the last stop, but, you know, major city-wise, that's the last stop before getting to Las Vegas. Got me a bag of coke while I was on the way here because I'm like, hey, if I'm going to rehab, right, I'm about to party it up this whole entire time, smoking weed, whatever the case may be. Get to Las Vegas. I can say whatever, right? Yeah. Okay. So by the time I got to Las Vegas, I had changed my mind. And I said, I'm going to do this for a mini vacation, but I'm in Las Vegas. There's no way I'm staying sober. Out here in Vegas, this is party central. You know, no, of course not, right? God had something different in store for me. Got off the bus. They came pick me up, brought me to Desert Hope, Maine, so that I could do initial intake. I can't remember exactly why I didn't get admitted into Maine, but this is where I wanted to go because the brochure, this is what I saw on the brochure, right? I'm like, yeah, man, 5-star hotel. They got maids. They got people, you know, yeah, I can do this. They're like, oh, yeah, well, we're going to send you over to Rezo and you're going to do outpatient.
So that's resolutions, correct?
Resolutions, correct. And I'm like, but I want to be here. They're like, no, we're going to send you over there. And that's exactly what they did. I'm glad they did. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. But what I have learned is that before you're allowed to be comfortable, you have to become uncomfortable. 100%. And I was uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What? You said you're sitting in this dope house and you're seeing these things. What got you to that point? And how long had you been using? And what
10 plus years. I have about 10 plus years of usage under my belt. Perry, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I could sit here and tell you a million things on why I think I got to that point. There's only one reason that matters, and that is trauma. Now, is that an excuse? No. But trauma would be the baseline, right? And I say that the way that I say it because I don't want people to think that this is an excuse, because it's not. But the baseline, even in research that you do, I would like to say more than 75% of people that are actively addicted have trauma that has been untouched, right? For me, it's a mixture of trauma and curiosity. Cause I've always been that kid. You tell me, don't do this, I'm gonna be like, why? You know, prime example, grandmother had I was young. I probably was like 6 or 7 years old, right? Grandmother had the iron out, the iron clothes. She had it sitting out. She said, Jamison, because I was over there like, about to, I'm curious. She's like, don't touch it. It's going to burn you. She told me what was going to happen. As soon as she hit that corner, I didn't just do a finger this time. Whole hand. My grandma came around the corner and said, told your ass. So you can tell somebody all day long, hey, if you smoke crack, you're going to become addicted. You do meth, you're going to become addicted. There's only a small % of individuals who will actually take what you're saying and understand and hear you. The other people, they're like, whatever. I'm going to do what I want to do, right? But still, to go back to what you're saying, the base of, I feel like, after my own research, after going through having an addiction issue, trauma. Because the drugs are not the problem. The drugs are never the problem. And I think that even in recovery, I think that sometimes that's something that is not touched on as much as it should be, because drugs are not the problem. The problem lies within. So
the drugs become a coping mechanism.
Yes, it's a Band-Aid.
It's a Band-Aid. Yeah. So really what you're saying is treatment helps bring that out and recognize a way to deal with the trauma without using it, correct?
Well, I would say yes and no, right? Because here's the thing, right? So now that we have the base for trauma, correct? Trauma, self-awareness comes next, right? Because most people that come to treatment are not coming to treatment to deal with trauma. They are coming to treatment to deal with what? The drugs. So we're going to deal with this, but the possibility of this relapse is still going to be high because the baseline, the foundation has not been corrected, right? So in construction, right, when you're building a house or you're building a building, what is the first thing that you have to lay? The foundation, right? The foundation is what you put everything else on. If your foundation is not sturdy, what do you think is going to happen when you start putting the beams and the poles and you start adding all this extra weight onto this already unstable foundation, right? So that's not to take nothing away from treatment, right? Because it works if you work it and it works if you want it to, right? But personally, treatment in itself is a Band-Aid as well, unless you get to the root of the problem.
Did you get to the root of the
problem? Most definitely. Most definitely.
I'm curious, was that a light bulb moment when you went, oh my God, this is why? And was it through therapy?
What I do agree with, though, is certain counselors that were able to take a step back, hear where I was coming from, look at it in a bigger perspective, zoom back in to say, okay, let's figure out the root of the problem.
And I would assume you're referring to counselors within the Desert Hope.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Did that surprise you that they were able to pull that out?
For the two that did, no, because they were already open-minded and they never negated my feelings when it came to the recovery program as a whole, right? Because in my mind, I've always said, and I'm always very verbal. I stand on business. I say what I mean, and I mean what I say, and I won't change what I say because I'm a man of morals and principles. And if you stand for something or you fall for anything, right? I believe that to a certain extent, treatment is political, right? Because it's money. Right. It's always money involved, right?
But you got to keep the lights on.
But you got to keep you got to keep the lights on. I think that what I experienced was the reason why I said to myself, there's got to be more, because I know that I'm on drugs. I know that I have a drug problem. There's something else missing. I don't want to keep talking about drugs. You understand what I'm saying? Because if the point of this is to get drugs off of your mind, why am I always being reminded of doing drugs? When I spoke to this one particular counselor, I'll say no names, but I spoke to this one particular counselor and told her, my feelings towards everything and this, that, and third. And even she said, well, maybe you're not here for drugs. Yeah, like, but am I not at a drug rehabilitation center? Like, did I come to the wrong place? No, maybe you're not here for drugs. I want you to go, when you go back to resolutions, I want you to think about that. And that's exactly what I did. I went back to my room and I thought about that. At this time, I had just started reading the big book. Closed it. Because for me, this is not for everyone else. Because what works for one may not work for the other, right? For me, I don't need to read this big book because I lived it.
Wow. You lived it.
I don't need this.
Yeah.
Because once again, now we're giving me something that is going to remind me, and I don't want to be reminded. Not yet. I'm going to get to that, though. Not yet. I don't need to be reminded right now. Not while this is my safe place, right? So I put the big book down. I substituted the big book with self-reevaluation. And I did the steps. Right? I did the steps up until I felt like I didn't need to do the steps no more. Now, I know that this can be very controversial. Right? But let me break it down for you. Steps 1 through 5 are the same exact thing. The same exact thing. If you put it in a perspective with your trauma. And they all speak about one common entity, and that is God. No matter what you believe in, how you view it, the name that you call it, I don't care. It all means the same thing. The higher power, right? Whoa. In order to understand myself, I now have to rebuild the relationship that I destroyed with God, because he never destroyed the relationship with me. I allowed trauma to get in the way. So the whole time, the medicine that I've been needing been right there. Too selfish and caught up in my own ways to want to accept that. So when I started looking at it from that point of view, that's when everything for me changed. It was like, holy crap, I'm sitting here worried about smoking dope or shooting up or popping pills or sniffing coke. That ain't the problem. The problem is the first hurt that I ever experienced came from my mother. The problem is my daddy, I feel like, don't want nothing to do with me. The problem is I'm different than most kids growing up. The problem was, that wasn't a problem, but in my mind, it was a problem. The problem is nobody wants me. The problem is I have abandonment issues. The problem is, you see where I'm going with this?
I understand. Yeah.
So the drugs were never the problem. They became my solution. When I got to rehab, and realized that I don't want to keep hearing about drugs and started focusing on the healing part of myself, everything changed, brother.
Yeah. And would you say it was that moment when that counselor said, maybe it's not the drugs? And you go back and think about that.
When I go back and think about that, the moment that she said that, I was like, now I'm sitting here, I'm excited. Because now I got to do research, right? Because like I said, I appreciate what I got from the program. And I want everybody I would love for everybody to see it the way that I saw it. Reality of it is, everybody's not going to see it that way, right? I think that in retrospect, when we stop focusing on drugs and we start focusing on our foundation, when we stop trying to build on a unstable foundation, we can actually fix the drug problem.
You can.
Very literally.
Yeah. And a lot of people, like you said, not everybody, because recovery is different for everyone.
Right.
Right? Not everyone's going to have that moment like you did at that stage. But I think it's important to talk about this, because I think there's people out there going, I don't think I can get off these drugs and go to treatment. I don't know if treatment's going to work for me, but I think you could probably say it worked for you, correct?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. Treatment worked for me so good. And when I left treatment, I struggled for a little second. Until it finally, I'm talking about until everything just crashed in on me at one time. Boom. Bruh, you are the problem. Yes, your trauma is the problem, but the trauma is you. So you can't even fix your trauma until you fix you. And in order to fix you, you have to build that relationship with the Most High. When I started doing that, that's when I started seeing the change. We're talking about, at the time I was 30, 31, 32, something like that. We're talking about somebody who got 10 plus years of drug abuse that goes from being strung out, up, down, in between, all around, to now a professional boxer. For somebody who never picked up a pair of gloves in their life, but was quick to pick up the needle, quick to pick up the dope. I went from picking up dope to picking up gloves in a year and a half's time.
Why do you think what drew you into boxing, you think?
God
did?
God and my wife, who, by the way, for the record, was also in recovery.
So did you find your wife after treatment and
Nope,
everything?
I found my wife in treatment, which was something that was highly frowned upon, told that you're not supposed to do. Let me tell you something about me, Perry, real quick. Just so, I don't know if you've put it together yet, but I am a rebel. Okay? I am a rebel with a cause, because if you tell me that you can't, I am going to prove you wrong. Every time. They say that you're not supposed to say that you are recovered, that you are recovering. I don't believe that. I'm going to tell you why. Because there's power in the tongue, right? You speak life into yourself. So when I wake up in the morning, I don't say I'm a recovering addict. I say I am recovered by the power of the Lord that I serve. I will never say once an addict, always an addict. Don't believe that, because at that point you're putting self-doubt into yourself by saying once an addict, always an addict. So you mean to tell me I'ma always have to live to this name? I don't care what society could looks at me as. What do I look at me as? Because society gonna look at me as what's on that paper. I don't care. I'm a felon. It's hard for me out here. Do I walk around saying I'm a rehabilitated felon? If I ain't walking around saying I'm a rehabilitated felon, why am I walking around and say that I am a recovering? Because every day I wake up, yesterday I recovered from something.
Yeah. Now, do you still work the programs and things
I still work. So the way I do things is because I had to find what worked for me, right? Training, and helping others is how I work the program. Every once in a while, I'll attend a meeting. I stopped attending meetings for a long time because, again, the person who I am, I don't like war stories. I don't like, everybody, oh, I did this and I did this and I did this and I did this and I did. I'm not here for none of that. Let's not focus on what we did. Let's focus on what we are now doing and how can we take what we're doing and give to another individual so that they can get to the part where they're like, hey, I don't want to listen to the drugs. I want to know how I can help somebody else. That is how I am staying sober. God first, family second, myself third. I had to become selfish to learn how to become selfless. I didn't have to become selfless and then become selfish. No, I had to become selfish first. I had to have ego deaths, right? I had to destroy that internal fortitude of, I don't care what nobody else says. It's either my way or the highway. It's not like that, because for me, the God that I serve showed me the blueprint. Showed me the very exact blueprint on how to stay sober. Yeah. I got the blueprint. We all got the blueprint. It's right there in front of us. It's just up to us to be able to register and hear.
Yeah. I think everybody's going to work it differently. Because
yep.
Everybody's their own individual, right?
Right.
It works if you work it. It's going to mean something different to
everybody.
But I think it is important still that you are working and doing something towards recovery every day, though, right?
Yeah, I would never say that I'm not doing something, right? I would never say, no, I'm just... No, because every day I'm finding out something new about me, right? Prime example, this is how I know I still work the program. My last fight I lost. It was a stoppage. 3rd round. That fight took a lot out of me, Perry. Physically,
I can't even imagine.
Mentally, and emotionally. It took a lot out of me. And I wanted to get high. Like, I very literally, first time in a long time, Perry, I had ever even had that thought. I didn't even realize it was a thought until I looked at my wife and was like, she said, what's wrong? I said, I want to get high. She just looked at me. I'm like, yeah. I was like, just give me a second. I felt like that for 7 days. You know what I did all 7 of those days? Dove back into my word, read my Bible, prayed, meditated, whatever you want to call it. Zen, recenter, and remember that the reason why I felt like that is because the last time I took punches like that, I was getting beat on by the man that was dating my mother. What does that mean? Trauma. So I had a PTSD moment in the ring. And coming out of that, I was embarrassed.
Everybody has a support system, I think. And it sounds to me like your wife is a very, very good support system for you. You've got to be grateful for that, correct?
Oh yeah, my wife, my kids, my grandparents, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, and now that because I realized that trauma was an issue, I had finally forgiven my mother. And honestly, Perry, when that happened, it was like a cessation. All feelings of ever wanting to do anything that would harm my body went away. Up until that fight. But you know what that fight let me know? That I'm still human. Right? And that fight also let me know that I'm going to say the devil. I'm meaning drugs very literally, but the devil still works. So don't never get too comfortable. Don't never get too comfortable. It's okay to kick your feet up. You know what I'm saying? Take a load off. But you never get too comfortable. You always got to be on your pivot, you know? It's just so for me, I have now taken my recovery and turned it every day is boxing. Every day is boxing, right? I want to get high, dodge. I want to get high, boom. If I get hit, that don't mean I got to, I return the punch. Me getting punched in the face is a representation of how close I am. One slip up, you're done. What has also kept me sober is living in Las Vegas. Because the junkies back home got drug etiquette. There's no drug etiquette out here. And I'm going to tell you something. If you can get clean in Las Vegas, Nevada, and stay that way, there is nothing in this world that can knock you off your pivot. Absolutely nothing. Every day I wake up and I go outside and I'm driving to the gym and I see these folks on the side of the road is another reminder of what I don't want my life to be like. And that's more for me. It may not work for the next person, but for me, that's more than enough for me to say, I'm looking at them outside and I'm looking at my back seat at my beautiful children. And I'm like, yeah, nah, it ain't worth it. People have asked me, while you're on this journey, which my fight name is Jamison the Redeemed Cooper, by the way, right? Yes. So people ask me, yo, Redeem, now that you are a professional fighter, right, and you're filming a documentary and you're starting to get more exposure and this, that, and the third, what does that mean for your recovery? And I keep it very simple. It means a lot. It means a lot. Because I'm more prone to being exposed to that lifestyle again in a much more broader scale than the average person. So I got to be on my toes at all times. I got to remember my 1 through 5s and my 6 through 12s. Now so more than any. I got to remember that. I got to remember what my counselor told me that day, right? Because at this point, I can no longer use trauma. Why? Because my foundation is strong. I took up all the old foundation and laid new foundation down. So now I have to mentally be fortified inside and out to ensure that anytime a crack pops up, I got to be right there to spackle it up. You get what I'm saying? I got to be right there to patch that hole because, oh, wait a minute, there's one hole because one hole could cause another hole. It's not easy. I ain't going to lie to you, Perry. It's not easy. I'm enjoying life. I love where I'm at in life right now, but it is not easy. It's not.
How often do you use or go back to some of the things that maybe a counselor at Desert Hope said some things to you or gave you some
insight,
some skills, and taught you some things? How often?
A couple times, a few times. If I feel a moment of depression kicking in, it depends on what's going on. right? If I feel a little piece of depression that maybe possibly onset, maybe coming on, and I have to, I might remember a worksheet that I did of, I tell you, let me scratch that. Becoming emotionally intelligent is probably the best thing that ever happened to me. Because I was never emotionally intelligent. Not really. Because my emotions have always been, and I've never been able to understand emotions. Because I've always been high. I understood emotions as a youngster. I hated those emotions that I felt as a youngster. So that's why getting older, boom, let's bring on the drugs. And now I don't gotta worry about these emotions. Right? Get sober. Here comes emotions again. Now I'm realizing, based off of things that I've talked to my counselors about, and my wife telling me, you are emotionally unintelligent. You can't even read. It's hard. It was hard to read her. But it wasn't. It was only because I was emotionally unintelligent. I wasn't able to pinpoint my own emotions. So therefore, I didn't realize, right? Now that the emotional intelligence has come into play, I'm like, oh, so that's what such and such counselor was talking about when she said, you don't like the way that feel, do you? Oh, that's what such and such counselor meant when they said, well, I mean, you did it to yourself, right? How does that make you feel? Being able to be aware of my own feelings also helps me to stay sober. Why? Because I don't like feeling high. I know it may sound like I'm trying to simplify it, but I'm not necessarily trying to simplify it. I'm just saying, like, the equation that was written for me, it worked. It very, very literally sometimes, like my grandfather, for instance, he was a stone cold alcoholic for a very long time until the one day he went to church. I remember it like it was yesterday because I went with him. My grandmother didn't. My grandfather walked into the church house. Pastor looked at my grandmother and said, you got a wife at home, don't you? My grandfather said, yes. How do you know this? Because I don't know you. Come to the front, son. Came to the front. Pastor laid hands on him. I saw the demons leave my grandfather's body. He never picked up another drink again. And never did recovery. Never did the 12-step program. Didn't go to meetings. Didn't do none of that. Very literally. Let go and let God.
Mm-hmm. Some people can do that. It's funny. One of my questions to you was going to be, what did treatment teach you about yourself? But it sounds like you finding that emotional intelligence was something that treatment helped you find about yourself.
Treatment gave me the necessary steps to understand emotional intelligence. My wife is the reason why I now have it. But treatment definitely gave me the build up, the blueprint, the whatever you may want to call it. I would definitely say treatment helped in that aspect. Yes, my wife is the one who actually pushed the agenda.
She was going through treatment the same time as you?
Correct.
Okay, so I'm wondering if there was certain light bulbs going off for her as well, and saying, yeah, go ahead. That I'm sure there were certain things she saw in herself, but she was like, I know I can help you. And I wonder.
Vice versa.
Yeah.
It was very vice versa, because funny thing is, she's from the same place I'm from. 5 to 8 minutes down the road. I used to eat, my family used to eat at her grandmother's restaurant. My people know her people. I went to school with her cousin, but never met her until Vegas. So yeah, there was on top of, she had a dream about me like 20 years before she met me.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't
So,
it crazy how things work?
yeah. It never ceases to amaze me. I love it. I love it because I just feel like, man, I love being an underdog. Not gonna lie to you, man. I love the fact that when people say no, my higher power says yes. When man says no, the God I serve says yes. And I love that. I love that. I love having her as my backbone, because we know and we're polar opposites, but that we have in common. You understand what I'm saying? So being able to understand each other on that level is something different, because I only want the best for her and she only wants the best for me. I also know, though, and I'm going to say this for the people that may watch this, you have to be careful with that, though, because if you're not helping, then you're hurting. So you also have to make sure that your sobriety still has to come first. Period, point blank. And that's the thing about me and her is that we made it very clear. So listen, sobriety comes first. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. The president of the United States could come to me right now and say, I'll give you everything you want in life and then some. You just got to do X, Y, and Z with the drugs, bro. I'll holler at you. Nothing. There is not one thing in this world that will make me go back. Nothing. I figured that out after losing my last fight. Because if that didn't take me back, especially the amount of mental distress that I went through, if that didn't take me back, there is literally nothing in this world that can take me back.
Absolutely. I was talking to Maddie, and as we're building out kind of an alumni chapter for Desert Hope, I hope you get involved with that because you're very inspiring. I think you doing anything, standing up and just talking, telling your story, I think you'd be awesome at that. I just wanted to mention that.
Oh, appreciate it, brother. I hear that all the time. Listen, that's why we're doing this documentary. I actually used to speak at Outpatient all the time when CJ was there. Yeah, so I used to do that all the time, and I spoke to Manny and said, man, I would love to come back and do that because I feel like my story is something that is unheard of. Like, we hear a lot of great recovery stories, right? But I feel like by default and by definition, I feel like I have somewhat rewritten the game of recovery. And that could be a little self-pretentious to say, but I did temporarily, I started up my own mentorship program, right? And right now, I have a 100% success rate. So it's unofficial, but I do have the proof to show that the way that I do things works.
Very good.
All the guys that I've had, I haven't had any ladies yet, but all the guys that I have had have successfully completed not only their own rehab program, but they work with me. They got back in shape. They are healthy mentally, physically, emotionally, and number one, spiritually. And I take on all types of people who don't believe, people who believe in the spaghetti noodle guy. I don't care who you are. A challenge is a challenge because I know what I'm able to produce. As long as you're willing to do the work that I'm gonna give you, and it's nothing like your traditional. Nothing like it. We get physical. We get physical because I need you to feel this pain. I need you to feel these emotions. I need you to walk through this hurt. I need you to know what it's like to know that you're going to get knocked down a lot of times. You're going to get knocked down a lot of times. A lot more times after you get clean, people are going to try to knock you down. So you got to be physically tough, mentally tough, emotionally fortified, and spiritually strong to be able to deal with all that weight at one time. That's what my program gives you.
Very good. That's awesome. That is awesome. I'm curious. if you meet people that could possibly use treatment, or if you see people, would you recommend Desert Hope to that person?
I sure would.
Yeah.
I would, and I would tell them. I would recommend it, and I would tell them to go in with an open mind. And I would also tell them, I would implore them to find that one counselor that works for them. I would also implore them to take what you need and leave the rest. Because if you don't need it, don't feed it.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Very good. How long have you been in recovery now?
Going on 4 years.
4 years. So it was 4 years ago that you came here to those doors and all that. And I'm just kind of recapping now. North Carolina.
Charlotte, to be exact.
All kinds of drugs. and found treatment. And I think it's important that, and there was something you said that your grandma was, pretty much you got to do this for you. And I think that's true for everybody. They have to be willing to take those steps. Correct?
I mean, personally, yes, you're absolutely right. Because let's just be honest. If I didn't want to get clean, I wouldn't. Period. Right? Because I'm a rebel. I do what I want to do. Nobody tells me what to do, except for my coach, and that's only in the gym. Mm-hmm. Sometimes out the gym, but anyway.
And maybe sometimes your wife.
All the time. But you wasn't supposed to say that, Perry.
I'm married, I know.
But no, you have to be able to take charge of your life, man, because it's like this, bro. Nobody made you, for the few that, because some people did get forced to do drugs. That is a real thing. But for the most part, man, nobody put a gun to your head and say, hey, smoke this meth, or I'm going to blow your brains out. If they did, then you was just a dumbass that had stupid ass friends. Excuse my language. I was just being honest, right? But you gotta want it, man. Like, that's what it ultimately boils down to. The reason why the blueprint works for me is because I wanted it. The reason why my blueprint worked for the other guys is because they wanted it. Because the beauty of my program was this. I'm going to give you a blueprint. I am not giving you my foundation. Ooh. That's heavy. I'm going to give you the blueprint to be able to build your own foundation, but no, you can't put your weight on mine. That's why I would never call it a sponsorship, right? Because by definition, when I hear the word sponsor, it makes me feel like I am responsible for your recovery, and that is not what I'm doing. I'm not responsible for giving you money. I'm not responsible for giving you rides. I'm not responsible for giving you none of that, because guess what? While you were in your active addiction, just like myself, you figured out the way to get high. So since you figured out a way to get high, you're going to figure out how to stay sober. I'm going to give you the blueprint. You just can't use my foundation. I might even get in there and shovel up some of this dirt for you because you're moving too slow. But you still can't use my foundation. My foundation is my foundation. I just gave you the plot of land. I gave you a piece of land and said, build on it.
It's their personal journey.
It's their personal journey. All I'm doing is giving you the blueprint. Now you got to figure out what works for you. Whether that be AA meeting, NA meeting, church, basketball court, the gym, boxing, soccer, singing, trap. I don't care what it is. You got the plot of land. Now build on it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I guess to finish recapping, you come to treatment. You're 4 years in recovery now. You found a wife. You've got kids. You found something you love in boxing. You're mentoring people. Did you ever see that?
Hell no, Perry. No. I've always said that I was going to do something great in life. I didn't believe it. I didn't believe in myself. I was alone, black sheep, Mr. Popularity, but I can't stand myself. Even while I was in the service, Mr. Popularity, can't stand myself. In and out of jail. I felt like, man, whatever I'm going to be doing, I ain't going to be doing it in this lifetime. That's kind of where I was at. Until I realized that my destination has already been preset. All I got to do is just follow the path of righteousness to get there. I follow the path and I walk the correct steps, bro. There's nothing the only person that can stop me from achieving ultimate greatness is me. Period.
I think a lot of people can learn a lot from that statement alone. You know?
Yeah, for real. Like, PSA, the only person that can stop you from achieving what it is that you want to achieve is you. Period. Nobody else, nothing else, no drug, nothing. Nothing can stop you and nothing can help you until you are ready.
Absolutely. I want to say thank you so much for this conversation. It's very inspiring. I think people hearing it are going to be like, especially if they know somebody or have a loved one that's in need. You're very inspiring. I think people will seek treatment. And some of your story. And
I would, I don't know if I'm allowed to give out my info.
Go ahead. If I have to edit it out, then I'll just edit it out.
Okay. If there is anyone out there who is just looking for somebody to talk to, I'm available. You can find me on Instagram at THE_redeemed, REDEEMED 91. That would be _redeemed 91. You can find me on Instagram. Follow me on Facebook, Jamison Cooper, the Redeemed. And I'm here for you. That's one thing about me that I've always made clear from day one, of realizing that I love giving back what was so freely given to me, even though that is not a true statement because it wasn't free. So there it was. Not money-wise. It wasn't free emotionally. Okay. But I'm here, man. Guys, listen. I'm 34 years old, and if I can do it in Las Vegas, Nevada, there's nothing like you can do it. If anybody's interested in wanting to get with me about my mentorship program, feel free. Again, I'm here. I'm here for the people. And for those who know me, they know I stand true on what I say. It'll be hard work, but we can get it done, man. I'll help you get into Desert Hope best way I can. And then once you get to a certain part, then we'll start on my program. And prayerfully, hopefully, by the time all is done and the dust settles, hey, who knows where you could be in life right now. So thank you. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yes, sir.